Hello everybody out there, this is Roger Sherman from Ecocentro Solar giving you another update on different aspects of grid-tied solar in Mexico, and today we're talking about CFE bidirectional meters because this is a subject that confuses people. So take a look, and if you have any questions please contact me and let me know what those questions are. So, to kick off straight away, CFE, as you may or may not know, uses two different models of meters. One of the things that confuses people is that their existing meter might have a little check mark where it says bidirectional, so they think they don't need to change their meter to go grid-tied, and that is actually false. These meters that say bidirectional, they just mean they're bidirectional ready, and CFE need to program them to work as a bidirectional or grid-tied meter. And remember, at Ecocentro, we do all the paperwork process with CFE on your behalf, so you don't have to worry about it and make lines down at those offices, which can be tedious. So right now, CFE have two different models. The one on the left here is the user model, and the one on the right is the grid stream model. Basically, they both give the same information, but slightly different displays. So I'm going to take you first to the user model, and this meter has no external buttons or controls. Basically, what you will see is that the display is scrolling between two readings, and I've highlighted in this little circle here in green on the right hand side, and in a smaller size font than the actual reading of your consumption, it'll say 1.8.0. Now that is the amount of kilowatt hours that you have used from the grid or from CFE. No matter how much solar you have, you're always going to use from the grid because obviously there are times when the solar isn't producing energy. So for example, at nighttime or during a heavy rainstorm. The second reading is shown as 2.8.0, and that just means reading 2. And reading 2 is the reading of the excess power that you have made with your panels that has not been self-consumed in the home and has been sent back to the grid. This is known officially as export. And your bill is based on the difference between these two readings. So on your billing cycle, instead of getting one pair of readings at before and after, you will get two pairs, and it is the difference between those two that you will actually be billed on. If you have a grid stream meter, it's a little bit easier because 001 appears on the left, and that is reading 1, that's what you've used from the grid, and the export 002 is shown as 002. So it's a little bit easier to read, but it's basically the same. Now, as you also know, CFE have a new format for their bill. Not very nice looking. We preferred the older format, but on this there's quite a lot of useful information that other than how much you're paying, and I'm going to take you through that right now. So the first thing, this little blue star showing tarifa or tariff, this is the tariff that has been applied, and the tariff that is applied to you is dependent on your annualized averaged use or consumption. So in my case, I'm luckily in the 1B tariff, which is the tariff that every new contract starts in and will remain in, provided you don't go above the average for your region that takes you into the high consumption tariff known as DAC, DAC, Domestico Alto Consumo. Lots of myths about this tariff. We'll talk about that in another video. The second bit of information is that you're now going to get these two pairs of readings like I mentioned earlier on in this video. So the one with the green line, that's my reading 1. So in this case, the two readings were 38131 less 37590. So that was a net of 541 kilowatt hours for the period. And underneath that, the export. So in my case, in this particular billing cycle, I actually exported 929 kilowatt hours, which was more than my total consumption. So in this period, we used, basically we banked back to the grid or into our energy bank a credit of 388 kilowatt hours. However, you will notice that they charge me 50 kilowatt hours. Why? Well, it's a minimum charge. It's a bit like the line rental on your telephone. There is a rental whether you use the phone or not, and in CFE they charge you 50 kilowatt hours. So depending on the tariff that you are in, it will determine the size of your bill. In this particular case, it was a very low amount, as you saw, about 48 pesos. Right, moving right along. The third section tells you how the bill is calculated. And there's all sorts of complicated mumbo jumbo here about distribution, transmission, and SINASE, and all this stuff. It really isn't very useful. However, on the right-hand side, we have this fixed charge of 39 pesos 65 cents. We have 16% VAT, so that adds up to 46 pesos, and then there's another tax, DAP, that's the Derecho Alumbrado Público, which basically means your contribution towards public lighting, and so my bill was basically 48.65, and it shows how much of your bill was subsidized if you're in a tariff that carries a subsidy. In other words, if you're in the one tariff and not in the DAC tariff. On the back side of the bill, we also have some very useful information, which is historic consumption. So you can see here in my case, we've had several bimesters where there's no consumption whatsoever, and we've had one bimester where there was higher consumption. That's when I have my visitors day. Obviously what we're looking for here is to keep the annualized average nice and low. Now, unfortunately, with this new format, CFE sort of forgot to leave a space showing your energy bank. And that's why we recommend that you keep your own records. If you can take pictures of your meter with a smartphone that date and time stamps it, they will take that as evidence. Have to say they're making way less errors than they used to, but it does happen occasionally. So keep your own records, take pictures of your meter as close as possible to your billing dates. Now, at the time of making this video, CFE were showing on their online website where you log in and into your bill, you could see that details. Unfortunately, that now has disappeared as well, but it used to appear here that we'd had accumulated so many kilowatt hours and we have so much in our energy bank. Unfortunately, that has also disappeared. But as I said, in your own records, you can keep it, and obviously if you have monitoring of your solar production and your electrical consumption, so much the better, because you can check against your CFE bill and see if they're billing you the right amount. And then, just as a little reminder, obviously your panels will produce at their maximum efficiency, provided they're not covered in dust or bat droppings or leaves, etc. So keeping them clean is a good idea. Some of you will be either in a situation where your roof is almost inaccessible to you, or you can't be bothered, in which case we are more than happy to do this service for you, and really for a very reasonable charge we will do a professional cleaning of your panels. And we recommend that, depending on whether you're right up on the beach, on the waterfront or further back. We do this either every 6 months or every 12 months. And again, you can contact us and we will talk you through how that works. We hope this little video has been useful, and we wish you sunny days to enjoy and to continue to enjoy your free solar power from the sun. Enjoy. Bye bye.